Beloved soul, God just left the bank in shock. A huge amount of money has been released in your name. And if you ignore this even for a second, you will miss out. Open this immediately before it's too late. Don't skip God. This is not entertainment. This is not coincidence. This is a divine interruption. Right now, in the unseen realm, something has shifted. Papers have been stamped in heaven. Authorizations have been signed by the Most High. What you prayed for in tears, what you whispered when no one else heard, what you almost gave up on last month has just been approved. And the systems of this world are confused. Because when God moves, even institutions that trust only numbers and signatures feel the pressure of heaven's authority. Listen carefully. There is a spiritual account connected to your obedience. There is a heavenly vault tied to your endurance. And for a long time, it felt like your account was frozen, delayed, overlooked. You saw others receive breakthroughs while you waited. You wondered, God, did you forget my name? But heaven never misplaced your file. Archangel Michael has been standing guard over what belongs to you. While you thought nothing was happening, battles were being fought on your behalf. Delays were not denial. They were divine strategies. Protection was happening behind the scenes. And now, something has just been released. This is why you felt restless today. This is why this message found you at this exact moment. This is why you felt a pull in your spirit that you could not explain. God is saying, the hold is lifted. But here is the warning. If you treat this lightly, if you scroll away, if you say, I'll deal with this later, you may miss the timing of your own miracle. Because divine release requires divine response. For months, maybe years, you have been in preparation mode. Quiet growth, silent suffering, hidden obedience. People judge you. They thought you were stuck. They thought nothing was working in your life. What they did not see was the accumulation. Every prayer was a deposit. Every tear was an investment. Every act of faith was interest compounding in the spirit. And now the balance is overflowing. The enemy tried to close your account, tried to convince you that you were bankrupt spiritually, emotionally, even financially. There were moments when you almost believed it. Moments when your faith felt like it was running on fumes. But heaven recorded everything. Archangel Michael has been positioned at the gates of your breakthrough, ensuring that what is yours is not stolen, not redirected, not misassigned. You are not overlooked. You are marked. And something unusual is about to happen. A sudden opportunity. An unexpected call. A surprising shift. A door that opens without struggle. That will not look like what you imagined. It may not even come from where you expected. But when it appears, you will feel it in your spirit. A confirmation. A knowing. A holy peace mixed with urgency. Do not hesitate when it arrives. Because this release is time-sensitive. Here is a window open right now in the spirit. A narrow but powerful moment where obedience will unlock overflow. If you delay, the window does not disappear forever, but it may close for this season. God is not threatening you. He is alerting you. There is a difference. You have entered a season where distraction is the enemy's main weapon. Small delays, minor doubts, tiny compromises. That is all it takes to miss a divine appointment. But you were not called to be careless. You were chosen to be alert. Right now, take a breath. Feel that stirring in your chest. That is not anxiety. That is anticipation. That is heaven nudging you, saying, pay attention. This is about more than money. Yes, provision is involved. Yes, resources are connected. Yes, financial shock is part of the story. But deeper than that, this is about restoration of dignity, restoration of confidence, restoration of what you thought was permanently lost. God is about to prove that your waiting was not wasted. There are people who will not understand your sudden shift. They will call it luck. They will call it coincidence. They will not see the nights you cried. They will not see the battles Archangel Michael fought on your behalf. But you will know. And when it happens, remember this moment. Remember that you were warned not to ignore it. Remember that you were told to respond immediately. Remember that heaven does not shout twice when the door is already open. Something has been released in your name. The question is not whether it exists. The question is whether you will step forward and claim it. This is your confirmation. Now prepare your heart, because what is coming next will explain why the delay had to happen, and why the shock the world is about to witness will carry your name on it. Chosen one, what I am about to reveal will explain why the bank was shocked, and why heaven was not. You thought the delay meant denial. You thought silence meant rejection. But in truth, God was increasing the amount. What you asked for was small compared to what He decided to release. While you were praying for survival, He was preparing overflow. While you were asking for enough, He was arranging abundance. There was a negotiation happening in the unseen realm. The enemy argued that you were not ready, that you would waste the blessing, that pressure would make you fold. But Archangel Michael stood firm, defending your growth, presenting your obedience as evidence. Every time you chose faith over fear, it was recorded. Every time you resisted quitting, it was documented. And heaven used your endurance as legal proof that you could handle what is now being released. This is why the timing feels sudden. In the outside world, it looks instant. To you, it feels overdue. But in the spirit, it is perfectly synchronized. There is a divine alignment happening between your preparation and your provision. If this had come last year, it would have overwhelmed you. If it had arrived during your weakest season, it could have distracted you. But now, you are stronger, wiser, more discerning. That is why the release has your name clearly written on it. And yet, there is urgency, because blessing without awareness can be missed. Opportunities can be overlooked when the mind is clouded by doubt. God is saying, stay alert. The shock is not only about the amount. It is about the source. It is about the way it will come. It may not look religious. It may not look dramatic. It may come disguised as a simple email, a conversation, a decision, a risk you feel prompted to take. When it appears, do not second-guess yourself into delay. This is the hour where obedience must be immediate. Some of you have been praying specifically for financial restoration. Debts that felt suffocating. Responsibilities that kept you awake at night. Plans that were postponed again and again. Heaven has not ignored those details. God knows numbers. He knows due dates. He knows contracts. And when He moves, systems that rely on logic alone are forced to adjust. That is why I say the bank is shocked. Because when divine favor overrides natural expectation, calculations break. Limits collapse. Doors that were firmly shut begin to open with unusual ease. But listen carefully. This release is connected to purpose, not pride. It is connected to assignment, not ego. God is not just giving you money. He is funding your calling. There are things you are meant to build, lives you are meant to impact, generosity you are meant to express, This increase carries responsibility. That is why Archangel Michael did not allow it to come before your character was refined. Protection always comes before promotion. And now, let me speak directly to your hesitation. You have a habit of traching when something big approaches. You downplay your own blessing. You question whether you deserve it. But this is not about deserving. It is about covenant. It is about promise. What God releases cannot be blocked by your insecurity unless you agree with the doubt. Do not agree with it. Instead, agree with heaven. Say in your spirit, if God has released it, I receive it. Something is shifting even as you hear this. There is a stirring, a sense that time is accelerating. That feeling is not imagination. It is alignment. When heaven moves, there is a momentum that cannot be stopped by ordinary resistance. And here is what makes this moment critical. Distraction will try to pull you away right when clarity is needed. A small argument, a random delay, a sudden wave of tiredness. These are subtle tactics designed to make you miss divine instruction. Stay focused. Stay steady. The next few days are sensitive. Decisions matter. Conversations matter. If this message is resonating in your spirit, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who has been praying for breakthrough. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready for what God has released. Subscribe and become part of this growing movement where we recognize heaven's timing together. When you engage, you are not just supporting a channel, you are aligning yourself with the prophetic atmosphere. And hear me clearly before we move deeper. What is coming next will reveal why certain people had to exit your life before this release could happen. You may have thought their departure was loss. In reality, it was preparation. Hold on to that thought, because the next revelation will connect the separation to the shock that is about to carry your name. Faithful one, now you are ready to understand why certain people had to leave before this release could take place. You thought their absence was punishment. You questioned why relationships shifted, my support systems weakened, my conversations grew distant. But what if I told you that their removal was not rejection? It was protection. What if I told you that the very people who walked away would have mismanaged the blessing that carries your name? When God releases a large provision, He first secures the environment around it. Archangel Michael was not only guarding the blessing itself, he was guarding the circle around you. There were individuals who smiled at your struggle but would have envied your elevation. There were voices that comforted you in lack but would have competed with you in abundance. Heaven saw what you could not see, and so separation became necessary. You cried over exits that were actually divine security measures. You mourned connections that would have leaked your favor. The delay you experienced was not just about money being prepared. It was about your surroundings being purified. Because increase without discernment attracts chaos. God was not only filling your account, He was clearing your atmosphere. This is why things felt lonely before they felt hopeful. This is why silence surrounded you before this announcement reached you. The isolation was strategic. In that quiet season, your dependence shifted from people to God. Your validation shifted from applause to obedience. Your identity shifted from performance to purpose. The transformation qualified you. When the release comes, and it is closer than you think, you will notice something different about yourself. You will not panic. You will not boast. You will not scramble. You will move with calm authority. That calmness will be the evidence that you have been prepared. But listen carefully, because this is crucial. The blessing attached to your name is not random. It is connected to something you once surrendered. There was a moment in your life when you let go of control. A moment when you said, God, even if I never see the reward, I will still trust you. That surrender activated something in the spirit realm. Evan Marvin moment. Archangel Michael stood witness when you chose obedience over convenience. That decision sent a signal upward, and the response was not immediate, but it was guaranteed. What is being released now is a response to that surrender. This is why ignoring this message would be dangerous. Not because God is impatient, but because timing matters. When heaven opens a door, responsiveness matters. Delay can create detours. Distraction can create postponement. But attention creates acceleration. Right now, your attention is aligning you with the flow of provision. Here will be a sign. For some, it will be financial confirmation. For others, it will be an opportunity that feels unusually aligned. For a few, it will be an idea that refuses to leave your mind. Do not dismiss these signals. They are not random thoughts. They are divine prompts. And here is the deeper layer. This release is also a test of stewardship. Not a test of worthiness that was already settled, but a test of wisdom. How you handle the first wave will determine the next level. God is not interested in overwhelming you. He is interested in establishing you. That is why Archangel Michael's presence around your breakthrough has been so intense. Protection is strongest when transition is near. And you are in transition. From scarcity to surveillance. From doubt to decisiveness. From waiting to walking. Take a moment and breathe in that truth. The shock the world will feel is not about the amount alone. It is about the timing. It will come when others least expect it. People who assumed you were behind will suddenly realize you were being positioned ahead. But remember, humility must remain your foundation. Because what God is building through you is bigger than personal comfort. You are being entrusted with influence, with reach, with the ability to bless others quietly and powerfully. This is why your heart had to be refined first. Money amplifies what is already inside a person. And God made sure that gratitude, not arrogance, was growing in you. Now, seal this moment with faith. Type I receive the release in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 314 is now activated over your life. And as this code is declared, understand something profound. When you sow into what feeds your spirit, you participate in the flow of heaven. This message did not reach you by accident. It is part of a larger assignment, to awaken, to prepare, to align souls with divine timing. If your heart feels stirred to support this mission, respond boldly. Through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link placed in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into a field where lives are being positioned for breakthrough. Scripture declares, as you give, it shall be given back to you, pressed down and running over. That is not distant history. That is God speaking directly into your present moment. When you act, say within yourself, I am partnering with heaven's release. Let your support be a prophetic seed. Let it declare that you believe in the multiplication of faith across nations. Those who sow into light will never walk in darkness. Those who fund the spreading of truth will see doors open in places they never knocked. Do not hesitate when you feel the nudge. Move as one who understands timing. Move as one who recognizes that provision flows through willing hands. As you give, may your own release accelerate. As you support, may unexpected favor locate you. Step forward now and seal your agreement with heaven's movement. Anointed listener, there is something you must understand about sudden wealth released by God. It never arrives alone. It carries revelation with it. It reveals character. It uncovers hidden intentions around you. And this is why heaven took its time before allowing this moment to unfold. When the announcement of your release begins to manifest physically, you will notice a shift in how people respond to you. Some will suddenly remember your name. Others will act as though they always believe in you. A few may even attempt to reconnect under the disguise of celebration. Do not be offended by this. Do not be flattered either. Simply observe. Because discernment is part of your inheritance. Archangel Michael has not only guarded your provision, he has sharpened your spiritual sight. You are not as naive as you once were. You are not as easily manipulated. The lessons you learned in hardship were not wasted. They trained you to recognize sincerity from strategy. This next season requires calm awareness. You will be tempted to explain yourself, to justify your elevation, to tell the full story of how long you waited and how much you endured. But restraint will protect you. Not everyone deserves access to the details of your testimony. Some people can celebrate your blessing but cannot handle your process. Let your peace speak louder than your proof. The shock mentioned earlier is not just financial shock. It is social shock, emotional shock, even spiritual shock. People who misjudge you will quietly reassess their opinions. Doors that were once closed without explanation will open without apology. And here is the deeper truth. The wealth being released in your name is not only currency. It is credibility. It is influence. It is access. It is the restoration of authority in areas where you were once dismissed. God is restoring your standing. But restoration must be handled carefully. You cannot return to the same mindset that existed during your lack. Scarcity thinking cannot manage abundance. Fear-based decisions cannot steward overflow. This is why the preparation season felt intense. God was rewiring your internal beliefs before adjusting your external reality. You may have noticed subtle changes within yourself recently. A stronger sense of self-respect, a clear boundary, a reduced tolerance for chaos. These are not personality shifts. They are alignment upgrades. Heaven upgrades the vessel before increasing the volume. Archangel Michael's role in this transition has been protective but also strategic. Protection without strategy creates comfort but not growth. Strategy without protection creates risk without stability. You have been given both. Now, let us address the urgency again. There will be a moment very soon when a decision must be made quickly. It may involve accepting an offer, signing something, saying yes when fear tries to say wait. That moment will feel intense but clear. Your spirit will be steady even if your mind races. That steadiness is your confirmation. Do not allow overthinking to sabotage divine timing. The enemy cannot cancel what God has released, but hesitation can delay your experience of it. And you have delayed enough in your life due to self-doubt. It's time. Move differently. Move with quiet confidence. You are not stepping into greed. You are stepping into provision. You are not claiming something stolen. You are receiving something assigned. That distinction matters. When your heart remains aligned with gratitude, increase cannot corrupt you. Another layer must be revealed. This blessing is also generational. It is not stopping with you. The wisdom you gain, the stability you build, the doors you open, they will extend beyond your lifetime. What feels like personal relief now will become family security later. What feels like sudden shock now will become long-term structure. This is why the battle was so intense. The enemy resists generational breakthroughs more than temporary victories. Archangel Michael's defense around you has been strong because the impact of your release reaches further than you realize. You are not just receiving for yourself. You are breaking patterns. Pause and let that sink in. Patterns of financial struggle. Patterns of self-sabotage. Patterns of limited thinking. They end with you. But endings require bold steps. The next phase will stretch you slightly beyond your comfort zone. Not to harm you, but to expand you. Expansion feels uncomfortable at first. Yet discomfort is often the doorway to capacity. When the opportunity presents itself, do not shrink. Stand in it fully. Speak clearly. Decide firmly. Act promptly. Because what God has released is already in motion. The shock has begun in the unseen. Soon it will echo in the visible. And when it does, remember that this was never about luck. It was about alignment. It was about preparation meeting promise at the appointed hour. Stay centered. Stay grateful. Stay ready. The next revelation will uncover why this release is connected to a promise spoken over you long ago, a promise you may have forgotten, but heaven never did. Steadfast heart, long before you ever worried about money, long before you counted bills or calculated deadlines, a promise was spoken over your life. It may not have come with thunder. It may not have been dramatic. It may have sounded simple at the time. But heaven heard it, sealed it, and scheduled it. And now, that ancient promise is resurfacing. There was a season when you believed you would live differently. You dreamed boldly. You expected favor. You felt chosen for something more. But then life happened. Delays happened. Disappointments happened. Gradually, that early confidence faded into quiet survival mode. Yet promises from God do not expire because of human fatigue. Archangel Michael has stood as a guardian not only over your protection, but over your prophecy. What was declared concerning you years ago has not been erased. It has been preserved. Even when you doubted it. Even when you spoke against yourself. Even when you lowered your expectations to avoid further disappointment. Heaven never downgraded your assignment. The financial release attached to your name is directly connected to that earlier word over your life. It is not random income. It is provision for fulfillment. There is something you are meant to complete, something you are meant to build, something you are meant to step into fully. And without resources, that calling felt distant. That distance is closing. You may have noticed a strange return of old ideas lately. Visions you once abandoned have started revisiting your mind. Desires you buried under practicality are rising again. This is not nostalgia. This is activation. God is reminding you of who you were before fear convinced you to shrink. The shock the world will experience is tied to the fact that you are stepping back into alignment with your original design. People adjusted their expectations of you based on your quiet season. They assumed you had settled. They assumed your dreams were unrealistic. But what they saw as retreat was actually recalibration. And recalibration always precedes acceleration. The money being released in your name will feel like confirmation. It will whisper, "You were not crazy to believe." It will declare, "The promise was real." But you must be careful not to treat it as the final destination. It is a tool, not the trophy. Archangel Michael's presence in this transition ensures that you do not confuse provision with purpose. The funds are fuel. The mission remains the focus. Here is what many people misunderstand. When God funds something, He expects movement. Stagnation suffocates blessing. Fear paralyzes flow. You cannot receive this release and then retreat back into small thinking. Expansion requires courage. You will need to revisit decisions you postponed, conversations you avoided, steps you delayed because resources were lacking. Now that provision is entering the picture, excuses will disappear. That can feel overwhelming. But remember, you are not stepping into this alone. The same protection that carried you through lack will carry you through increase. The same guidance that sustained you in confusion will guide you in clarity. There is also healing attached to this promise. For years, you quietly questioned whether you misheard God, whether you imagined your calling, whether you aimed too high. This financial release is part of your emotional restoration. It repairs confidence. It restores belief in divine faithfulness. Yet there is a warning hidden inside this restoration. Do not allow bitterness from the past to contaminate the future. There were people who discouraged you, people who minimized your vision, people who subtly celebrated when you appeared delayed. But carrying resentment into your new season will poison your peace. Release them. Archangel Michael did not fight to secure your breakthrough so that you could carry old grudges into new rooms. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is clearance. Clearance makes space for expansion. Another truth must be spoken. The promise attached to you is larger than public applause. It may not look glamorous at first. It may require discipline and consistency more than spotlight. But impact does not always shout. Sometimes it builds quietly until it becomes undeniable. The funds being released are the beginning of structure. Structure supports longevity, and longevity creates legacy. You are entering a season where your actions will echo beyond immediate results. Think long-term. Decide wisely. Surround yourself with integrity. Move in alignment, not impulse. The shock mentioned in the beginning is only the surface. Beneath it lies a restoration story that few will fully understand. But you will understand. And that is enough. The next revelation will uncover why a specific test you recently endured was the final qualification before this release was authorized. What felt like pressure was actually the last evaluation. Prepare yourself to see the test differently. Courageous one, that recent test you endured was not random pressure. It was the final evaluation before authorization. You wondered why, just when things seemed to calm down, a sudden challenge appeared. And I've stuck it since. A misunderstanding. A delay that felt almost cruel. You asked, why now? But heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was observing you. Because increase magnifies whatever remains unresolved. Before the release was finalized, there had to be proof that you would not crumble under stress, that you would not abandon integrity when stretched, that you would not compromise character when tempted. And you passed. Not perfectly, not without emotion, but faithfully. Archangel Michael stood witness to your response. When frustration tried to rise, you restrained your words. When fear whispered worst-case scenarios, you chose patience. When quitting seemed easier, you held your ground. Those moments were recorded. The test was the final signature required for your release. You may not have felt victorious at the time. In fact, you may have felt exhausted. But heaven saw maturity. And maturity unlocks access. The reason the bank is shocked is because they only calculate visible numbers. They do not see spiritual qualifications. God does. The pressure you survived was proof that you can carry what is coming without self-destruction. Some people receive sudden increase and lose themselves. Their discipline fades. Their focus weakens. Their priorities shift. But your recent test revealed something different. It revealed stability. Now, as the release approaches full manifestation, there is a subtle shift you must make. Move from survival mindset to stewardship mindset. Survival asks, how do I get through this? Stewardship asks, how do I manage this well? That shift changes everything. You are no longer fighting to stay afloat. You are preparing to direct flow. The enemy's final attempt was to make you react emotionally under pressure. Because emotional reactions create consequences that delay blessings. But you did not explode. You did not sabotage. You stayed composed even when misunderstood. That composure was your confirmation. Archangel Michael's protection around you intensified during that test because transition moments attract resistance. Whenever something significant is about to shift, pressure increases temporarily. It is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of proximity. You were closer than you realized. There is another layer to this evaluation that exposes who truly supports you. During that challenging moment, some people disappeared. Others showed up unexpectedly. Pay attention to that. Increase reveals loyalty just as much as hardship does. Do not ignore the patterns. As you step into this new level, alignment in relationships will matter more than ever. Not everyone is meant to walk into your expanded season. Some were companions for the valley but not partners for the mountain. Discernment will protect your peace. And I'll listen carefully because this is critical. When the release becomes visible, maintain the same humility you carried during lack. Do not allow relief to turn into pride. Gratitude keeps blessings circulating. Arrogance blocks flow. You have been shaped by struggle. Let that shaping remain visible in your kindness, your generosity, your discipline. And let me say this clearly. If this message has been guiding you, strengthening you, awakening something inside you, do not remain silent. Like this video as a declaration that you recognize divine timing. Share it with someone who is currently under pressure and needs to hear that their test is qualification. Leave a comment expressing what you have learned through your recent trial. Subscribe and become part of this growing community that refuses to interpret pressure as punishment. There is power in agreement. There is momentum in unity. And here is something you will not want to miss. The next shift will happen faster than the last. What took months to prepare may unfold in days. What felt delayed for years may resolve suddenly. The pace is about to change. So stay attentive. Because the same God who watched you during the test is about to reward you in the open. And the way it unfolds will make it clear that the pressure was not meant to break you. It was meant to prove you. What is coming next will reveal why this release is also connected to a location change, a movement, or a new environment that has been quietly forming around you. The shift will not only be financial. It will be geographical, relational, or professional. Prepare your spirit. Movement is near. Watchful soul. The movement you have been sensing is not imagination. It is transition. For weeks, maybe even months, there has been a quiet restlessness inside you. A feeling that your current environment no longer fits the person you are becoming. Conversations feel smaller. Spaces feel tired. Routines feel heavier. You tried to ignore it, telling yourself to be content. But the stirring has not stopped. That stirring is instruction. The release connected to your name is not meant to remain confined to the place where you struggled. Provision often carries relocation. Not always physical relocation, but positional relocation. A shift in environment. A shift in access. A shift in proximity to opportunity. Archangel Michael has not only guarded your finances, he hath been preparing pathways. While you focused on surviving each day, unseen arrangements were being made. Doors in other rooms were being unlocked. Introductions were being scheduled. Spaces were being cleared for your arrival. You are not just stepping into increase. You are stepping into new territory. This is why certain environments have recently felt uncomfortable. Growth creates friction in places that once felt familiar. You had outgrown some conversations. You have outgrown some mentalities. You have even outgrown certain limitations you once accepted as permanent. Do not mistake discomfort for instability. Sometimes discomfort is confirmation that expansion has begun. The financial release is fuel for movement. It gives you the ability to say yes where you once had to say no. It gives you freedom to consider options that previously felt impossible. It gives you leverage to step into rooms that require readiness. But movement requires courage. There will be a moment when you must choose between comfort and calling, between familiarity and future, between staying safe and stepping forward. That decision will not be loud. It will be quiet and personal, but it will shape the direction of your next season. Archangel Michael's presence around this shift is strategic. New territory attracts new challenges. Protection travels with purpose. You are not being sent out unguarded. You are being positioned with covering. There is something else you must understand. Not everyone will understand your movement. Some will interpret it as ambition. Others may call it discontent. A few may even accuse you of changing. But growth always looks like change to those who prefer stagnation. You are not betraying your past by embracing your future. The shock described earlier is layered. It is not only about the amount of money released. It is about the scale of transformation that follows. People who once defined you by your old circumstances will struggle to categorize you. They will look for the version of you they were comfortable with. But that version has evolved. The environment you are entering will require a new level of discipline, new standards, new boundaries. You cannot carry old habits into new spaces. That is why preparation was so intense. Heaven was strengthening your internal foundation before adjusting your external surroundings. Pay attention to invitations in the coming days. Some will seem small but carry significance. A meeting, a call, a chance encounter. Do not dismiss these as coincidences. Movement often begins subtly, and when you feel the internal confirmation, act. Do not overanalyze. Do not wait for perfect certainty. Growth rarely announces itself with complete clarity. It requires trust. Archangel Michael's guardianship ensures that wrong doors will close firmly. If something is not aligned, you will feel resistance. If something is meant for you, you will sense unusual ease despite natural nerves. Trust that balance. There is also a release from limitation happening within you. For years, you may have defined yourself by what you lacked. You calculated decisions based on restriction. You planned cautiously because resources were tight. That mindset served you during survival. But you are transitioning into expansion. Expansion requires vision. Allow yourself to think bigger. Allow yourself to imagine impact beyond your immediate circle. The funds being released are not meant to sit idle. They are seeds. Seeds must be planted in new ground to multiply. Movement is multiplication. And here is the deeper truth. The location shift, whether physical or positional, is connected to destiny alignment. There are people you have not yet met who are part of your next chapter. There are collaborations that cannot happen where you currently stand. There are conversations waiting in rooms you have not yet entered. Do not cling to what is comfortable out of fear, because what is ahead carries confirmation. The next revelation will uncover why this movement also separates you from a hidden limitation. that has been quietly restricting your potential. You thought it was external, but it has roots within. Prepare to confront it. Because once that limitation breaks, nothing will hold back what God has released in your name. Awakened one. The hidden limitation that has been quietly restricting your potential is not a person. It is not a location. It is not even a lack of opportunity. It is a belief you carried about yourself that no longer matches who you are becoming. For years, you operated under an invisible ceiling. You aimed carefully. You hoped cautiously. You expected only what seemed reasonable. Deep inside, there was a voice that said, "Do not expect too much. Do not dream too big. Stay realistic." That voice protected you from disappointment, but it also restricted your expansion. And now, that ceiling is cracking. The financial release in your name is not just breaking external barriers, it is confronting internal limits. Because the greatest restrictions are often self-imposed agreements made during seasons of pain. At some point in your journey, you adjusted your expectations downward to survive. You told yourself that stability was enough, that quiet existence was safer, that visibility brought risk. But the version of you who made those agreements was tired, not destined for smallness. Archangel Michael has been contending not only against outside opposition, but against inner narratives that diminished your authority. Protection in the spirit realm includes breaking false beliefs. The battle was not just for provision, it was for perception, and your perception is changing. You are beginning to see yourself differently. You are beginning to recognize strength where you once saw weakness. You are noticing resilience where you once saw delay. This shift in identity is what allows the release to remain in your hands instead of slipping through them. Because money amplifies identity. If you still believed you were unworthy, the release would create anxiety. If you still believed you were incapable, the opportunity would feel overwhelming. But heaven waited until your internal voice softened into trust. This is the true shock. The world may be surprised by the amount, but the greater surprise is the confidence with which you will carry it. The calm authority, the measured decisions, the absence of panic. That composure will confuse those who underestimated you. You are not becoming someone else. You are returning to your original design without the distortion of fear. There is something sacred about this moment. The breaking of internal limitation is quieter than public celebration, but far more powerful. When self-doubt dissolves, capacity multiplies. When insecurity fades, clarity sharpens. And clarity attracts acceleration. You will soon notice that decisions become easier. Where you once hesitated, you will act. Where you once overthought, you will trust. This is not recklessness. It is alignment. Archangel Michael's guardianship ensures that this confidence is anchored in wisdom, not ego. Now hear this carefully. The belief that once limited you may try to resurface. It will whisper, what if this is temporary? What if you lose it? What if you are exposed as unqualified? Recognize that voice as outdated. It belongs to a previous season. Do not entertain it. Instead, affirm what heaven has declared over you. You are prepared. You are capable. You are entrusted. The release has your name because your growth matches its weight. This internal breakthrough is also why movement is possible now. You could not step into new territory while doubting your right to stand there. But now, your posture has changed. Your shoulders are steadier. Your decisions are firmer. The hidden limitation is losing its grip. And with that release comes responsibility. Confidence must remain connected to humility. Expansion must remain connected to gratitude. The same God who lifted the ceiling can also test the foundation. Stay grounded. Type "my limits are broken" in the comments if you feel this shift happening within you. Blessing code 808 is now activated over your expansion. As this code settles over your spirit, understand that breaking limitations is not only personal, it is contagious. When you rise beyond internal ceilings, others gain courage to do the same. This message is reaching souls who feel confined by invisible barriers. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content, you are fueling liberation. God declares, "Enlarge the place of your tent." That is not ancient poetry. It is a living command spoken into this moment. When you sow into expansion, you align yourself with multiplication. Say within your heart, "I partner with heaven's enlargement." Let your giving become a prophetic act that declares there is no ceiling over your obedience. Those who plant in fertile ground will reap in due season. Those who pour into light will never lack illumination. As you give, may your own territories widen. As you support, may doors open in unexpected places. Step forward boldly and seal your agreement with growth. Radiant Spirit, now that the internal ceiling has been broken, you must prepare for the external evidence to match it. When belief shifts, behavior follows. When behavior changes, results respond. You are entering a stretch of time where what has been declared spiritually will begin to materialize practically. The release is no longer distant. It is aligning with your daily reality. But manifestation often arrives quietly before it becomes obvious. You may first notice small confirmations, an unexpected approval, a financial adjustment that works in your favor, a conversation that opens an idea you had nearly abandoned. These are not minor events. They are signals. They are the first ripples of a larger wave that has already been set in motion. Do not overlook small beginnings. Archangel Michael's protection remains active, especially now. The moment before visible breakthrough is often when distraction attempts to return. The enemy cannot stop what has been authorized, but he can attempt to divert your attention. If you become careless, you may mishandle what is arriving. Stay focused. There is a discipline required in this stage. It is the discipline of consistency. During your waiting season, you learn patience. In this arriving season, you must learn management. That means organizing your priorities, clarifying your goals, eliminating unnecessary drains on your energy. Because increase without structure leaks. The financial release attached to your name is not meant to create chaos. It is meant to establish order. Some of you will feel prompted to reorganize your life even before the full manifestation arrives. You may suddenly feel the need to declutter, to simplify, to create space. Follow that instinct. External order reflects internal readiness. The shock described at the beginning will soon become public knowledge in your life. Those who doubted your direction will quietly reconsider. Those who underestimated your faith will observe its outcome. But remember, visibility is a responsibility. Guard your heart against comparison. When people begin to notice your shift, some will measure themselves against you. Others may attempt to attach themselves to your momentum. Be kind, but be wise. Not everyone who celebrates your harvest helped you plant. Archangel Michael's presence around you is not only defensive, it is selective. Protection sometimes means filtering. Pay attention to how you feel around certain individuals as your breakthrough becomes clearer. Peace is a sign. Engine is information. This is also a season of increased clarity about your purpose. As provision aligns, direction sharpens. You will sense a stronger pull toward specific actions, a clearer understanding of what matters and what does not. Decisions that once felt confusing will feel straightforward. Do not delay in implementing clarity. You have spent enough time in hesitation. The internal work is done. The belief barrier is broken. The test hath been passed. Now action becomes the language of faith. There may be moments when the speed of change surprises you. What took years to build internally may shift externally in months or even weeks. Do not panic at acceleration. You prayed for movement. You asked for change. Now that it is unfolding, receive it calmly. Confidence is your anchor. Another truth must be spoken. As finances improve, your generosity will be tested, not by force, but by opportunity. You will see needs more clearly. You will recognize moments where you can bless others quietly. Remember where you came from. Let compassion remain active in your heart. Generosity keeps the flow open. The release you are experiencing is not meant to end with you. It is part of a cycle. As you manage wisely and give intentionally, the cycle continues. Scarcity thinking ends when circulation begins. This stage is about integration. Integrating confidence with humility. Integrating provision with purpose. Integrating movement with mindfulness. You are not abandoning your spiritual foundation. You are building upon it. And here is something you must not forget. The shock that the bank experienced symbolizes systems adjusting to divine favor. But systems are temporary. God is eternal. Do not anchor your identity in temporary reactions. Anchor it in permanent truth. You are chosen. You are prepared. You are positioned. The next revelation will uncover why one final alignment in your personal life must take place to stabilize everything that is being released. It is subtle, but it is essential. What feels like a small adjustment will secure a large future. Stay attentive, because this final alignment will determine how smoothly the overflow settles into your life. Faith-filled one. The final alignment that must take place is not dramatic, but it is decisive. It is a private adjustment before a public elevation. It is a quiet correction before a visible confirmation. And if you handle this moment wisely, everything that hath been released in your name will settle with stability instead of strain. This alignment concerns your priorities. As increase approaches, distractions multiply. Invitations expand. Options widen. Attention intensifies. Without clear priorities, even a blessing can become overwhelming. That is why heaven is prompting you now to simplify your focus. Not everything that opens is meant to be pursued. Not every opportunity deserves your energy. Discernment protects destiny. Archangel Michael's covering around you is strong, but your choices still matter. Protection does not replace responsibility. The alignment required now is the alignment of time, attention, and intention. Where you invest your hours will determine how effectively you steward your increase. Ask yourself quietly, what truly matters in this next season? What aligns with purpose and what merely feeds ego? What builds long-term structure and what only offers short-term applause? Be honest. The release in your name is designed to empower your calling, not inflate your image. If you chase validation, you will feel drained. If you chase assignment, you will feel energized. The difference is subtle but powerful. This is also the moment to evaluate habits. Small daily patterns shape large outcomes. During your season of waiting, you develop resilience. Now you must develop rhythm. A steady, sustainable rhythm that supports growth without burnout. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. There may be pressure to showcase your progress, to demonstrate that the shock was real, to display visible evidence of your shift. Resist that pressure. Let fruit speak over time. Rapid display often invites unnecessary scrutiny. Archangel Michael's presence reminds you that protection sometimes includes privacy. Not every blessing needs immediate broadcast. Allow some victories to mature quietly before they are visible publicly. Another alignment involves your inner circle. As your life expands, your conversations must mature. Surround yourself with voices that challenge you to grow, not flatter you into complacency. Seek counsel where there is wisdom, not merely excitement. Expansion requires accountability. This final adjustment may feel small. It may look like reorganizing your schedule, setting firmer boundaries, saying no where you once said yes, waking earlier, planning more intentionally. But these small recalibrations stabilize large blessings. Without alignment, overflow can spill wastefully. You have prayed for this moment. You have endured tests. You have broken internal ceilings. Do not allow a lack of structure to weaken what heaven has authorized. Stability honors blessing. And hear this clearly. If this message is clarifying your spirit, respond actively. Like this video as a declaration that you choose alignment over distraction. Share it with someone stepping into a new level who needs wisdom more than hype. Comment with the word aligned if you are ready to steward what has been released. Subscribe and stay connected to this movement of spiritual clarity and practical wisdom. Because what comes next will move swiftly. The pace is about to increase. Decisions will need to be made with confidence. Opportunities will not wait forever. This is not to create anxiety, but awareness. Prepared hearts move peacefully even in fast seasons. The shock that began in unseen realms is now approaching full visibility. Systems will adjust. People will react. Doors will swing open. But your stability will determine sustainability. This final alignment is the anchor. And once it is secured, nothing will feel chaotic. The increase will feel natural. The movement will feel guided. The responsibility will feel manageable. That is how you will know you are walking in divine order. The next revelation will not introduce something new. It will confirm everything that has been building. It will seal the season with authority and release a declaration over your future that cannot be reversed. Prepare yourself. The confirmation will be unmistakable. Chosen vessel, the confirmation you have been waiting for is not coming as noise. It is coming as certainty. After all the preparation, the testing, the breaking of internal ceilings, and the quiet realignment of your priorities, there will be a moment that feels different from the rest. It will not be dramatic in appearance, but it will be undeniable in your spirit. A calm assurance will settle over you. A deep knowing that says, this is it. This is what was promised. That knowing is the seal. The shock that was spoken at the beginning was never just about numbers in an account. It was about divine validation. It was about heaven demonstrating that your obedience was not overlooked, that your endurance was not wasted, that your quiet faith carried weight in realms you could not see. Now the evidence will begin to line up. Archangel Michael's assignment around you shifts in this stage. The battle stance transitions into a guarding posture. The war for release has been won. Now the focus is preservation and positioning. Protection continues, but it feels lighter. Less resistance. More flow. You will notice that things which once required intense effort begin to respond with unusual ease. Conversations align without forcing. Paperwork moves without unnecessary delay. Decisions that once felt complex now appear straightforward. This is not coincidence. It is confirmation. And here is something sacred. The confirmation may arrive in an ordinary moment. You may be sitting quietly when a notification appears. You may receive a message you did not expect. You may have a meeting that shifts everything in less than an hour. When it happens, your reaction will not be panic. It will be peace. Peace is your signal. The world may call it luck. Others may say the timing was fortunate. But you will remember the journey, the nights of uncertainty, the tests that felt unfair, the internal battles no one witnessed. And you will understand that what looks sudden was actually prepared over time. There is also a deeper layer to this confirmation. It restores trust between you and God. In your lowest moments, you questioned whether heaven was listening. You wondered if your prayers were lost in silence. This visible breakthrough answers those hidden doubts. It whispers, "I heard you. I was working even when you could not see it." That restoration of trust is more valuable than money. Because when trust is restored, fear loses authority. You will step forward differently after this. Not arrogant but assured. Not reckless but bold. There is a difference between confidence rooted in ego and confidence rooted in encounter. What you are receiving is the second. Archangel Michael remains near, not because danger surrounds you, but because destiny does. The higher the calling, the stronger the covering. But you are no longer fighting for survival. You are walking in establishment. There may still be small challenges ahead. Growth does not eliminate responsibility, but the tone has changed. You are no longer striving to prove yourself. You are simply responding to what has already been approved. And now, one final truth before the declaration that seals this season. Do not forget gratitude. Gratitude keeps the heart soft when life becomes stable. Gratitude reminds you of the journey when the destination becomes comfortable. Speak thanks privately. Acknowledge the source openly. Let humility remain your foundation. Because what has begun is not a temporary spike. It is a sustained shift. The final declaration that follows will not introduce a new promise. It will activate what has already been released. It will mark the transition from expectation to possession, from anticipation to establishment. Prepare your spirit. The seal is about to be spoken. And once spoken, it will echo into every area of your life with authority that cannot be reversed. Beloved of the Most High, this is the seal. What was whispered in the beginning has now become established in the Spirit. God has left the bank in shock, not because institutions are powerful, but because His authority overrides every system. A huge amount has been released in your name, and now the season of hesitation is over. You are no longer waiting for confirmation. You are standing in it. The declaration over your life is clear. What has been authorized in heaven cannot be reversed on earth. The signatures have been finalized. The hold hath been lifted. The delay has expired. What belongs to you is no longer in transit. It is arriving, and you did not miss it, because you paid attention, because you endured the test, because you broke the internal ceiling, because you aligned your priorities. This is possession season. Archangel Michael stands not in battle now, but in witness. Witness to your promotion. Witness to your expansion. Witness to the fulfillment of what was spoken long ago. The warfare that surrounded your name has shifted into favor that surrounds your steps. You will notice something remarkable in the coming days. Resistance will feel weaker. Doors will open with less force. Conversations will carry unexpected agreement. What once required struggle will now require stewardship. That is how you know the seal has been placed. But hear this final instruction clearly. Do not step into this new level casually. Walk intentionally. To be carefully. Decide wisely. You are carrying more than money. You are carrying evidence of divine faithfulness. Others will observe your life and silently measure their hope by your outcome. Let your life preach gratitude. The shock that began this message was a sign that God does not forget names, a sign that heaven tracks obedience, a sign that even when nothing appears to move, unseen hands are arranging outcomes beyond imagination. You almost doubted. You almost quit. You almost ignored the nudge. But you did not. And because you responded, you are stepping into a chapter that cannot be stolen by distraction or delayed by fear. This is not temporary excitement. This is structural change. This is foundation-level transformation. From this point forward, think generationally. Build wisely. Give intentionally. Protect your peace fiercely. The same discipline that carried you through lack will now sustain you in overflow. And if at any moment you feel unworthy, remember this. The release was not based on perfection. It was based on covenant. It was based on promise. It was based on a God who keeps his word even when time tests patience. Now seal this with your declaration. Type IT is sealed in the comments if you receive this word fully. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your establishment and overflow. As this seal rests upon you, hear this final call of alignment. This message did not reach you by accident. It is part of a divine assignment to awaken, to prepare, and to position souls before their moment of release. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel, you are advancing a spiritual movement. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down and running over." This is not history. This is a living promise spoken over you now. When you act, say within yourself, "I am financing the spread of God's word." Let your seed become light in someone else's darkness. Let your generosity unlock revelation in a soul who almost gave up. Those who pour into holy ground will reap in multiplied measure. As you give, may your own storehouses remain full. As you partner in this assignment, may doors open before you without resistance. Move now. So boldly. Seal your obedience with action, and step into the fullness of what God has released in your name.